Alright everybody, it's our Clow here, and let's just jump right into this video. I wasn't even going to do this. It's really bizarre because on April 21st, the day that Prince was pronounced to be dead, I just so happened to be putting out a video that morning regarding what I feel to be very compelling evidence or research that seems to support a assassination plot against Beyoncé or potentially some other high-profile figure coming up in May here, and potentially in conjunction with some pretty major scale catastrophes next to it, i.e. major earthquakes, so on and so forth. And it was very bizarre to me that I happened to put that video out that day because as you can see up top here, when I do these videos, I'm not online. I'm really trying to be in the zone as much as I can, so I don't have a live news feed going. So I didn't know that Prince was pronounced dead that day until after I had finished that video and came back online, and then obviously it was blanketing all of the news outlets everywhere. It's very interesting to me how much footage they had compiled into what looked like mini documentaries and all sorts of things spanning his lifespan, ready to go, prepackaged. Always bizarre when it seems like they're out of the gate anticipating it. And so in any case, I wasn't going to do a video like it, as I muttered in the beginning there, but by whatever intervention that got me to look into the song When Doves Cry, which I'll explain in a moment here, led me to just feel like I have to put this out really quick. So with all of that being said, let me jump right into all of this information. As always, if you're not familiar with occult research or Gematria, tarot cards, etc., please be sure to research it before you start knocking the methods. There's a tremendous wealth of information and resources out there for you to familiarize yourself with before you just start bashing the information, generally out of misunderstanding. Alright, and also, just to get it out of the gate, I am not in any way trying to disrespect Prince, his legacy, what anybody interprets him as a sex icon, as a musician, so on and so forth. I'm not attacking anybody. This is much larger than him, and whether he was aware of it or not, I believe that he was absolutely a part of a much bigger plan, and so I'm going to show you all of that. And alright, let's get down to business here. So this is the New York Times, as you can see, April 21st, and this article by Joe Coccarelli, I believe you would pronounce it. Very interesting to me because that name happens to have 13 letters, and we can also take those first letters J and C and get the number 13, dropping the 0 off of J, the 10th letter, and getting the 1, 3 there. And so very interesting that we have a double 13 in his name, and so you have 44, a number associated with killing and magic, and absolutely worth and just necessary to mention, I suppose, that it is the death card, and so very peculiar to me that is right out of the gates there. And so we're going to talk more later on about the location that he was found at, so on and so forth. But I want to get into talking about this song When Doves Cry because this is really a very keystone piece to this presentation. And so this is, as you can see, Billboard.com's article on Prince's 20 biggest Billboard hits, and as you can see at the very top here is When Doves Cry, and you see the peak date listed as July 7th, 1984. And so very interesting because July 7th, the 7th month, you have a nice double 7 right there. 1984, the way I reduce it down, it does come down to the number 4 because I do 1 and 9 is 10. I drop the 0, so 1 plus 8 is 9, plus that 4 is 13. 1 and 3 is 4. Alright, so remember that 774 is very important. But let's jump over here and take a look at some of the information on When Doves Cry. And so not too much of a surprise that there is a little bit of variance in the release dates in between these pages, but so I'm going to consistently go off of this one so that we do have some sort of steady baseline in that. Alright, so take a look here. I want you to see that it ranked number 52 on Rolling Stone's list of 500 greatest songs of all time. Number 52, we'll look into it more later, but absolutely coded with the same value as The Devil, and a lot of other significant phrases, concepts, what have you. So now take a look over here because we're going to talk about the release date, the recording date, but I want to start with the recording studio where it was recorded, Sunset Sound, because I think that is a very important place to start, as with anything. All right, so let's just take a look here. As the 19th letter, reducing it down again, that 10 coming, dropping that 0, so we have Sunset Sound. If we're using it as a compound word, gives us a triple one, immensely important, very closely affiliated with my name, which you should look into, so you can gain some more insight there. But I want you to see, if you're just looking at it as an S and S, again, you have that 11. This is the lust card, familiar, or excuse me, associated with Babylon. Please research it further, look into the other videos so I can keep moving here though. But so notice you can do this 11 times 11 for the value of 121, something we'll look into later because I want to keep moving here. But notice this Jewish value for Sunset Sound, 909. All right, immensely important. 99, one of the numbers I've been very I don't want to say obsessed with, but very determined to figure out. And so a wealth of information there. But take a look here. You see the phrase, I did it for the money, an instrument of death, as well as the numbers 159. Now, bearing in mind that when we're looking at these geometric values, they're absolutely anagrammic, which means that you could switch these around. It could be the numbers 5, 1, 9, 9, 5, 1, however you wanted to phrase it out. But it just so happens to be that 159 is the same simple value as more than a dreamer. And so now already start thinking back to the video I just put out again on this day that he was announced dead. This is from Beyonce's video for Formation. Very interesting. Please pause and look through these screens as always so that you can get a further glimpse in here as well. If you're not familiar, November 9th can be coded as the 11th month. So 11 times 9, you get that 99. Very important to always keep that together, and you see the even firmer line drawn between these now. Now keep going here. Take a look down below. You see reference to the great architect, as well as the number 7, the supreme key, as well as Hurricane Katrina. Again, this is all throughout the Formation music video. I want you to take a look here. You know, as I discussed in the video, Beyonce dies in this video, appears to die, going underwater. The significance this has as far as symbolism towards Aquarius, rebirth, sacrifices, so on and so forth, as well as its relation to the Hanged Man card, which we will talk about extensively today. So now keep moving here though. We're still up top, the English and simple values, order of the rose. Again, cannot overstate the importance of the rose symbolism, the secrets that it does hold in it. Please look into the links I'll leave for you because I have covered them tremendously in the past. Now take a look down here. We're on When Doves Cry, and I want you to see we have the phrase, the Grim Reaper swinging his scythe, as well as New Orleans metropolitan depopulated. Now interestingly, the Katrina stats have it somewhere around 34% of the population was no longer able to inhabit that area as a result of that. And so very interesting. Again, look into the statistics for it. I want you to also see it says Barack Obama fulfilled the prophecy of the great fallen Babylon king. And again, a tremendous amount of information that I've shown you about America being Babylon. Again, this is something that I am most certainly not the only one in the room saying this, but it is very interesting because this is yet another connection that we can draw to the Beyoncé video, as Pasadena, California is where she will be playing the Rose Bowl Stadium venue. Again, the Rose, immensely significant, but let's keep moving here because we still have a ways to go. Now take a look at the English and simple values here. You see I have the same as Dimension Films and Virgin Records. Virgin Records, the same label as Mer de Noms, which we'll get to in just a moment here, but see you have reference to Masonic Grand Lodge, as well as John D. Rockefeller, Seal of Solomon, next to terrorists, Satan's projects. You see the final warning, secrets revealed, and you get another set of numbers, 684. So let's take a look into those because they are just very bizarrely and interestingly popping up with all of this information that I have been bringing to you. And so this Little League Champs reference here, for those of you who watched the most recent Simpsons video I did, you'll know that I decoded this scene for you right here. Very bizarre. I actually did the whole episode, but notice the write out for it right here, Little League Champs. You see it twice over on these banners here, or statues, whatever. 6 letters each. It's a nice 666, and each of those letters that it begins with also reduces down to 3. Have them mirror this to the 666. Alright, so very interesting stuff. Notice the 684, what it's associated with here on the Little League Champs, the 333, September 9, and US, so on and so forth. That would be 99, very important. So also see that 684 shares the same coding as the tower. I cannot overstate again the significance. This is the same episode of The Simpsons. This is the last scene of the episode. It is very unnerving to me, but you'll also notice that 684 is the same value as Friends Arena, which is where Beyoncé is going to be playing on the is going to be the 135th day since this bill right here. This is real. It's from Congress.gov. Recognizing magic as a rare and valuable art form, as well as national treasure. The number 135 I've been talking about a lot lately. I'll talk about it today, but 135 days from this bill being introduced is when Beyoncé is going to be playing in Stockholm, Sweden at Friends Arena, sharing all of that tower coding, which you can happily see displayed on your screen right there. Again, very, very concerning things to have coming up here. Alright, so let's keep moving though. The song length here that we have is 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Again, for the album or the LP version of this song, you have it listed very clearly right here as 5 minutes 52 seconds. Alright, and so it's very interesting because Mer de Noms, again, this album, and I want to show you quite a bit of connection here because I did talk about this on my channel that was taken down, but see when it was released there, that's May 23rd, 5, 2, and 3, 5, so 552. Alright, just like the number that we have here for the length of the song. Alright, and so also very interesting for 552, that is the same English value for Jan Hansen. That is where Prince was found dead. You'll see that's 552. We'll get to that in a second, but very, very important to note that those absolutely share that correlation there. And I also want to note why I'm flagging this Perfect Circle album, because the whole idea of even the band itself, and you see with the smaller and the larger crescent here representing arguably the sun and the moon, the fusing of that masculine and feminine energy, again androgyny, and this connection that we have with Prince, a man who was synonymous with the concept of androgyny. Alright, he created his own sex symbol. Alright, very important to keep all of that in mind. Now take a look here. The length of Mer de Noms is 4425. It's very important, but you can also see this as 447. Alright, and so that's just like the inversion of what I was showing you. Oh, you know what? That's 774, not 447. My mistake. Alright, no big right there. It doesn't compromise anything. But so that 447, we can reduce it down as 44 times 7, and that's going to equal 308, or we can invert it as 803. And why I want to show you that 803 inversion is because that comes back to this Used and Abused books. Again, if you did not see the Family Guy video I put out recently discussing the date of May 24th and how all of this connects, again, you can see some of the breakdown for it right here, but I highly recommend that you check that video out. It is very, very interesting. And so let's keep moving here though. Let's see if I've got anything for 308. It is very interesting though with the 803 inversion. You can take a look here for these are the values for 308. Both the Jewish up top, and this is the English and simple down here. You see these references to the magnificent 888, 322's Bone Men, so on and so forth. Alright, but let's keep moving here. Let's take a look. This album was, or excuse me, this song was recorded, the single March 1st, 1984. All right, so the third month and 1 there gives us 31. It's very important because this is a secret book of the law number. If you have the Book of Thoth or access to it in any way, read up on the adjustment card and you can get a lot more context there. Now, take a look here, and also interestingly, because what's his face? David Copperfield is mentioned in this bizarre bill. Again, go watch my video on it, but 8 times. Again, the adjustment card, Mercury, relation to Christ, Magus, so on, so forth. Very interesting. But we can reduce that down to 4, and the year, again, 1984, reducing down to 13, then 4, so that mirror 3113, reducing down to 44. Just like the guy who wrote the damn article, alright? Very interesting. And so let's keep going here. The release date, May 16th, 1984. I want you to see this one because it's interesting. So 5, the month there, and then 1 and 6, the day, 7, 57, the age of his death, alright? So very interesting. We add that 5 and 7, we get the number 12, which is the Hanged Man, alright? And so look into this card. Obviously, with all of these, there is a lot of interpretation, but it is definitely classically, I don't want to say classically, it is associated in some circles with sacrifice. So look into it. Very interesting to consider. Take a look down below because we can keep going on this. There are 77 days in between when this song was recorded and when it was released. All right, so very interesting. Again, could do 7 and 7, excuse me, 7 times 7 to give us 49, 13 death, so on and so forth. Again, for the Emperor card, having a lot to do with the limitations imposed on us in this world, and as well as regards to concepts such as law. Alright, so now let me pop back over here though, pull this up so you can see all of these numbers to make sure I'm not fudging anything, but look at the length for the 7-inch edit, right? 3 minutes 47 seconds. I just want you to see that if we pull all of that across, we do get a nice 777 right there. With all these Crowley references that we're getting, absolutely critical to mention that this is the cover of one of his books, quite obviously, but having to do with Gematria and many other occult practices. Alright, so now keep moving here, and let's take a look at when the actual album Purple Rain was released. Alright, so take a look over here, reference to June 25th, 1984. And so if I can pop back here and we'll just do this reduction again, notice June 25th reduces the 13, that death card, and we can reduce down that 1984. Again, you have that double 13 making the 44, and they were saying that Purple Rain was the last song that Prince played. Alright, so very interesting to me that you have all of that lining up and the immense significance of that number. Okay, now let's keep going here, jumping back to the length of the time on the 12-inch, on the regular LP, that 552 there. As I noted earlier, it is the same value as Chan Hassan, as where he was found dead. Again, that's for you back here in this article. Is the location of Paisley Park. And so let's move through this relatively quick here. I just want you to see the concepts associated with it. Ides of March, again, plaguing Caesar right before his assassination. You see reference to Book of Death as well as Dark Death Angel. Again, could be referencing the death card itself, as that is a black skeleton on there. And you also see Death of Gollum, which has English and simple values of 666, 111. Now, I'm going to look at that, and you'll see why here in a moment. But take a look at the English here. You see reverse, numbers, Maryland, so on. But take a look, April 21st this year was the 112th day of the year. You see Golem for the Jewish value. Interesting, 11 times 2 is 22, the master builder number, especially having to do with contributing a lot of energy towards the development of the age of Aquarius. Alright, so now let's keep going here and see that with these Golem links from that, I added the death of Golem, so the in front of there, one of the divine words, and you see some very interesting things. Alright, first and foremost, where we're getting this 552 number, let me jump back here. You see 6 coming up there, so when we go to Purple Rain, I want you to know that is absolutely what is listed as track 6, alright, is When Doves Cry. Again, notice the varying times on all of this, and that's why I'm going off the first one. But again, that is the actual track position on there. So the number 6, Murder, the Tree of Life, as well as Thelemic Order. That would be Crowley's religion that he founded back around 1904. You also see an innocent man, no option, and dedicated to hate. All right, so a lot of that potentially having to do with the unaware state of mind that Prince potentially had towards all of what was really going on. Now take a look at the English and simple values, because you have Mark of the Beast as well as 44 written out. All of these 44s I've showed you is absolutely crucial. Even in the simple value here, 1 times 44 maintains that divine number. All right, you also see the secret key, Barack Hussein Obama, open third eye, as well as the number 612, which before we look into that, the opening of the third eye, just crucial with this picture up here of Prince with these very bizarre third eye glasses that he was wearing at one point in his career. You know, I didn't really follow him too closely, but so all the same, very interesting that he has that symbolism connected with him. So now let's take a look at the values for 612, okay? And so you see a cup of coffee. Again, this is from the Minute Brew commercial that played right after the death of what's his name, JFK, the Nestle Nescafe commercial. Jeff Martin, who was the writer for the Simpsons episode that I showed you pieces from my most recent video today, so very important that he's in there, as well as Iron Maiden, and you see here that is also the same value as Gravity, okay? And so all of this very important. Obviously Iron Maiden had an album called The Number of the Beast. It did come out on March 22nd, all right? I forget the year, it's 82 or 84, but that 3/22 from March 22nd is very important. Go watch my video on that, and you'll see some very, very fascinating stuff. All right, so now let's keep moving here, though, because I showed you with Chan Hassan up here, the English, that 552. If we invert that, it's the number 255, and so that has the English value of 1530. Okay, and so this is just very mind-blowing to me. So I guess before I show you this and how it connects to the gravity presentation I did, take a look at this. You have the number of the letter O, again that's 6, when doves cry on purple rain, very troubling, mark of the beast, mark of beast, as well as the Buddha is the Antichrist, and America's deadliest earthquake. All right, and so again, remember that 612 just from right above there, sharing the same values as Iron Maiden, as Gravity, cup of coffee, Jeff Martin. All of these things that I've been showing you have been leading into this. If we jump over to one of my clips from the Gravity video, this is Sandra Bullock setting her watch for when the comets or the debris is going to come back and keep smashing the hell out of her. But notice that 1530 up top there, very important. Again, the 13 very clearly on there, and we've been talking about it. It's the death card, and again, when you reduce it down to the Emperor, it's the death of limitations, is one way of interpreting that. All right, and so very interesting when you look at what it's all coded with there. But let's pull up this other bit here, because I do want you to see the Buddha is the Antichrist, and so why I flagged that, I guess I didn't get to show you all of the pictures here. So this is when she's hurtling towards the earth in a Chinese shuttle, and you clearly see the Buddha figure here. Take a look at this over here. This is the last set of numbers that I saw come on the screen here. Again, 2 and 9, 11 times 9, 99, or an inverted 911. However you want to read into that and the significance it absolutely carries. All right, so now take a look here. Again, I talked about this in the last video, so go ahead and read through that. But you see the reference towards Golden Dawn, Hermetic Order, New Declaration of Independence, so on and so forth. All right, so now let's keep going here. You see the reductions there. Again, coming down to 99, absolutely crucial. And so now let's take a look at Purple Rain, the album on which this song was on, allegedly his last song. You see Satan's Gematria, as well as Demon, Mind Control, Church of the Damned, Satan Cult, Entertainers, so on and so forth. The English and simple. All right, here we go again, right? 78, that is the number of cards in the tarot deck. And so 13, again, death card. You see that is the same value as Minute Brew, which played directly after, as the commercial after JFK's assassination was announced. That Jewish value of 780 is the same as 11 AD. That is the label that what's their name with the French attack? Eagles of Death Metal had album released on. Again, break that down, you get a 55, and you also would note that 780 is referenced in the Parkwood Entertainment coding. That is what, one of the labels that released the Formation single. So in any case, you see with all of this here, reference to television, White Horse, Death, Rosicrucian, again, immensely important secret society. You see non-servium, as well as the Serpent, Black Skeleton, the Death card. You see the Blood of Man, and the Path of Mem, the Hanged Man, alright? And so I showed you in Prince's coding up top here, it was right in here, yeah, right in here, the release dates for this album, that you had the Hanged Man and the Death card coding in the release date for When Doves Cry, and so to me, absolutely no coincidence that Purple Rain has them coming up like that. And again, the immense importance of 555 for the Jewish coding. The video that I had that originally exposed 555 Hubbard Avenue was taken down for no reason, so on. I'll do something on that later, but keep going here. Warner Brothers is who put this out. You see the word abrahadabra, as well as antagonizing terrorism. Abrahadabra is not just some nonsense. This is actually a word coined by Crowley. You see described as the word of the aeon, which signifies the great work accomplished. All right, and so again, this is piece by piece, something that definitely is reliant upon the concept of time. Okay, but so now take a look with that down below. You see that it has the same coding as Sandra Bullock. Again, this is the Star of Gravity, as well as Indian Love Call and English Nadsat. Those are great clues for you if you want to try to rehash some of the information I showed you in the past. Now take a look down below. You see reference to This Is a Hoax, Government, very importantly, Book of the Law, especially with the word abrahadabra right up top there. Okay, is a direct connection there. Also know that Warner Brothers WB52, all right, that satanic number that I was talking about earlier. Let me see if I've got a copy of it floating around here that I can easily pull up. Doesn't look like I do. Oh, you know what? There it is. All right, so you can see for the number 52 there, devil, narrow, again, antichrist of Roman times. You see reference to NWO, so on and so forth, right? So now let's keep moving over here, and I want you to see for Warner Brothers Records what is actually released on. The full name for the record label, 21, that is the Universe card. Although it is the 22nd Trump card, it is the 21st and the actual numbers, because 0 is the starting point. All right, you also see this idea of worship the sun. Absolutely, just critically important. One of the things I was talking about with this bill being proposed, Pete Sessions, this is going to be, he's in his 19th year serving in Congress right now, and so 19, the Sun card, Path of Resh, all of that. H-Res, you take this H, put it here, Resh, okay, and even just look at all of this connected with what I'm talking about, the 114th Congress, all right, 11 times 4, that 44 coming up. You see how all of this absolutely is just very, very tightly connected. Now look at down this here, the English and Simple. You have reference to Holy Blood, Holy Grail, as well as Terrorist Front, the Key to the Kingdom, and Sudden Destruction. All right, so now Prince and the Revolution. This is the so Purple Rain was the first album with them, so very important to note here. But you see the United States Needs an Exorcism, as well as Powerful Creation, the Mother of the World, November 30th, which we could break down as 33 or 330 if you want to hold on to that 0. You also see the Grail is in New Orleans. Again, interesting. It's where Beyoncé chose to drown herself in her video. Okay, you also see Construction of Humanity. Now take a look here, the English and Simple values. This is going back to the Tool video I did. Fascinating. Please go watch it. But you see all of these things here. Bringer of the Age of Aquarius, the Whisperer in Darkness. Okay, it's going back to, you see here that it has the same Jewish value as Iron Maiden. Absolutely critical to pull up on here, because the key point on that is that this is off of the Fear of the Dark album, which has I'm not even going to go into that on this because there's too much. Just go watch the other video on it. But so take a look here though, because I do want you to see the very last piece that comes up here. You have the star, the moon, and the sun. This is connected to the English and simple coding here, and that's the 17th, 18th, and 19th tarot cards. So now if we reduce all of those down, we get the number 891, and again, just very interesting because that number keeps on popping up in all of this research. That was the amount of time between JFK's assassination and the founding of the Church of Satan. Again, take a look at all of the coding that is written out in here, all of the ways it can be further reduced. It is absolutely interesting, and this is something that was coming up all the way into the video that I was doing on the Rose Bowl stuff here. These inversions of, again, you see for Pasadena's 366 as well as formation. Alright, and so again, that's where we get that 198. All of these very important things, the last trumpet, into the Antichrist, key to the seals, the second 9/11, weather modification, alright, all things are revealed, you name it, it's in this coding, alright, so very fascinating to me, and that's it. This is just a really interesting video. What's done is done, I guess, with Prince. We'll see when the autopsy comes back if they say anything about heroin. I'm not saying they will, I'm just saying to be interesting, and it's also worth noting here that his English and simple values, we were told at the beginning here that the number 7 would be important right here for sunset sound. The number 7, notice that is absolutely right there in Prince's coding as well as music. 15, that is the devil card. 1 and 5, 6, the number of when doves cry. Again, that is the lover's card. I've done a lot of work on that, so please go check it out, as well as you see their reference to doves. Okay, so with all of that, please just take this into consideration. I think it is immensely fascinating and worth looking into, alright? And so again, no disrespect towards Prince or anybody, any of his supporters, family, so on and so forth, alright? I just want to get this information out there. Like I say, it's much bigger than him, and whether he was aware of it or not, I feel like he was playing exactly the role that was designed for him, alright? So thank you so very much, everybody, for watching. Rest in peace to Prince, and please be well.